Hey, we're going to learn how to use the Nord Stage 3 as we have it set up for Canvas Church. Alright, the Nord Stage 3 has the same basic setup as the Stage 2, where we have different areas. We have the organ section, we have the main program section, we have the synth section, we have the effects section, and then right next to the main program synth section, we also have this section here, which is the piano section. So let's start with the piano section. Alright, the piano section is the same basic idea as the Stage 2. Piano section is initialized by the button right here. It's labeled piano right here. This is the button that essentially turns it on, and then this is your master volume, obviously, same as the Stage 2. The one thing that's different is to get from the different types of piano, from the grand, the upright, electric, from the claves, the digital pianos, and the layered pianos, we actually have to scroll through now. We don't have a button anymore that changes from section to section. So if you want an upright piano or an electric like a Rhodes or something, you have to use this knob here to scroll up to the electric piano section. So that's a different feature. If you want to split the piano, we set our split here with this button. That tells you that we just have one split point because there's one light illuminated there, and this tells you where that split point is. We'll do more about how to set the split points in a different section. When you're utilizing the piano section and changing the types of piano or the sounds themselves, the name of the piano will appear in the main screen area here. So one of the newest pianos is the Royal Grand 3D Extra Large, so it's a huge sample. It's a great sounding piano. Another feature, though, that's going to help us a lot is this instant piano EQ. And for us in the mix, to go ahead and whatever piano you're using, if it's the Royal Grand or the Grand Imperial, is also really nice sounding. It's a little brighter than the Royal Grand. One thing that's going to help us cut through in the mix, though, that piano sound cut through in the mix, is to go ahead and set this EQ to the bright setting. It gives it just a little more sparkle. And then make sure the string resolution is on too, which is this button here. You kind of just tap it until it shows you the string resolution is illuminated. So again, using this EQ section is really going to help us with the mix and making that piano really cut through and do its job in the song. Okay, for us at Canvas, you know, we often need a lot of pianos and pads, and so I have pre-programmed some of those. But one quick go-to always is, this is the program knob here. You can scroll to any program you want. In the Stage 2, we had 4 banks, A, B, C, D. In the Nord Stage 3, we have all the way up to H. And they're each 50 programs available in each bank. One thing that's different, though, is there's no longer a bank button. You can't just go bank A, bank B, bank C. You kind of have to scroll through, or you can hit this page button, which is a fast way to scroll through as well. So a couple good go-tos for us at Canvas Church. If all else fails, go to the very first program and hit, in terms of the panels, we have the A panel and the B panels, which still work together simultaneously, and you can use one as an A or B, or you can use A and B. In this case, what I'm going to recommend, if you're in a panic mode and don't know what to do, go to the very first program and hit B, and it's a nice pad and piano sound. Nice piano pad sound in program A01, panel B. Panel A is just a piano. Panel B has the piano and the pad. So that'll help us. Again, you'd probably want to set the EQ, though, to bright right away. Helps the piano stand out. that'll be helpful. Meanwhile, I've programmed some pads for us. I've used the synth section to create some foundational textures that we can use, and I stored them in the G bank. And so to get there, you can either use the page buttons to scroll up. You can press it numerous times or just hold it and it'll scroll quite quickly. Or you can use the program knob and just keep twisting it until you get to G, starting at number 44. So we have some basic pads that you can just add any piano to by turning the piano on and then selecting your piano. So you have kind of a basic air pad. Another super just basic that has a lot of air texture to it. Even more texture. And this one has a lot more attack and will come in a lot brighter. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn my master volume down for a moment. But that one has a nice bright sound. And then this one's really similar. It's just that when you press a key, it initiates sooner. And then this one called Foundation. Again, just super smooth. And then the last one, which is G50, is a saw pad, so it has a lot more. And it has a swell to it. Depending on how hard you push is how hard the swell is going to come in. So when you give it more pressure, and that's based on this velocity button here. When velocity means that it's affected by how hard you're pressing the key. Whenever you see any of these velocity options, that's pertaining to even how hard you're pressing something will create the effect. So in this case, the effect doesn't exist when you just press soft, but if you want the swell, give it a good attack. Yeah. So that's the saw pad, and then you can of course add a piano to any of these pads. Again, I'm going to choose, my favorite is the Grand Imperial still. It's the same that existed in the Stage 2. Yeah, so that's the pad section. Okay, finally, what I also did was I took the top 50 songs that we do and I saved them by title in the H section of the programs. So we have Alive in You, it would be the first one, and then all the way up to letter Y, You Make Me Brave is the last one. There's a lot I want to tell you about all these songs. And I think what I'll do is create a separate video where I talk about the unique features of each patch, because basically I was taking 4 keyboard parts and putting them into one section. So you'll notice on my patch names, if you ever see an MW at the end of the patch, it means you're going to want to start with the mod wheel down. Make sure the mod wheel is not up and engaged all the way when you first start a song. But that initially that mod wheel comes in at some point in the song, and that would be kind of up to you to know where does that feature come in. pulses in each patch are timed to the tempo of the song as we play them with multi-tracks in Ableton. So therefore, you don't need to worry about, is that pulse off with the tempo? No, it's set to exactly the same tempo that we do the songs in according to Ableton. So you should be set to go with that. As long as you are hitting the key actually on tempo. I mean, if you hit the key totally off tempo, then that... All right, so the question we should be asking is, how do we set ourselves up for Wednesday and our weekend services? How do we get ourselves ready for the set? We're going to use something called song mode. Song mode is a great way. It's similar to live mode, except we can see better what we're doing. And also, if we make changes, they don't automatically get saved. And so that's actually kind of helpful, because sometimes we overchange and then we're like, ah! So, song mode, to get to song mode, it's this button right here. And when we press it, this green light illuminates. Song mode. We're in song mode now. And what this enables us to do is kind of set up parts to a song, or in our case, it's our worship set. What should pop up when we hit song mode is song 1:01, and it should say worship set. If it doesn't say that, just scroll to it until it says worship set. All right. So now we want to go ahead and set up our set. To do that, we're going to use song edit. Whenever we want to use a feature that's listed beneath the button, we use the shift key to get to that feature. Okay, so we're going to hold down shift and hit song edit, and then the green light starts flashing. And it's also flashing on the 1, which means in this case we'll use that as our first song. So let's make the first song Not Unstoppable God. We'll make it Only King Forever. All right, and we'll notice it has MW, which means the mod wheel is going to be utilized in that sound. Okay, and then Resurrecting, that could be our second song, but you know, that's a personal favorite of mine. But we'll go ahead and change that to we're going to do it Look to the Sun. And then the third song, we're going to make that Oh Praise the Name. And you'll notice that everything in the H bank is listed alphabetically. So we're going to see Oh Praise the Name, essentially, in that one. And then let's say the fourth song was maybe a song that we didn't have listed in that H bank. Maybe it's one of the 50, maybe it's outside of one of the 50 that I've done. So just find a good foundational pad that you want. In this case, let's go to those pads in the G bank. We'll use G49, which is that foundational pad, and we can add a piano to it when we pull it up. And now that we have our 4 songs set, we go ahead and hit song mode again, and it'll stop flashing. Then we want to save that song in case the piano gets turned off, or you know, somebody tries to come and make some adjustments or something like that. We're going to go ahead and save it. And so we're going to use this red button. And I want to be clear that for the most part, this is really the only time we should be using the red button. Otherwise, we have the potential of writing over programs that we've spent painstaking hours to create. And we do have backups of those, but I can't load them back in for a couple months. So basically, you've ruined it then possibly for a couple months, and no one else can use that patch then. Okay, so we're going to store the song, though, in this case. So we hit it once, it's flashing, and it says we're storing a song, and that's what we want. We want to store it to the worship set. So we're going to hit it again. It's going to stop flashing, and it's stored now. So that means if we turn it off, we can pull this right back up and hit song mode, and worship set 1 is what we're going to have. So the other great feature about the Stage 3 that we should be super excited about is that we no longer have cutoff when we're changing patches. So if we're on Only King, and that's the sound for Only King, and then we came out of that song and we wanted to go to the next song, I'm ready for Look to the Sun, but it didn't make the Look to the Sun sound until I actually started playing it. You'll notice when we go to the 4th song and we have that foundation, that pad, you're going to want, if you want a piano, like maybe we started the song with just the pad, once we add the piano, or once you decide it's time for the piano, you'll have to turn that on. And go ahead and turn on your EQ up to bright. So, you're good to go for Sunday morning. Other features on the Stage 3 that are really similar to what the Stage 2 had, we still have our reverb section over here. Just a reminder that we try not to go bigger than the stage 2 setting. It says stage 1 and stage 2. That's like the size of the reverb. And when we go to stage 2, we try not to set it past number 5 or the 12 o'clock kind of marker there, because otherwise it gets just ginormous and a little muddy. In some situations, it totally works, but for the most part, you want to kind of keep your reverb tone down. When you want to add delay to that piano, you hit this button until the piano is illuminated. And so to change what's illuminated, right now synth is illuminated. To change what's illuminated, you double hit organ. Now we're on piano. That's super annoying. And if we want to match it to the song, to the tempo of the song, you can tap the tempo. 2, 3, 4. So then your delay is matched up. How loud the delay is, that is set with the dry wet. So you'll notice when I turn down that knob, when I roll that knob back, you can hardly hear the delay. When I roll it way back, you can hear it a little bit there. And then feedback is how many times, how many repeats it does. So if you had this all the way up, it's never going to stop. It's going to keep going. So be careful not to do that. I usually set it around 3 or 4. So hopefully that'll help you. We're good to go for Sundays and Wednesdays and weekend services. Have fun. See you in a couple months when we get back from Thailand.